Well, leaders of the 5 nations that make up the BRICS Summit are working on the final day of the 2-day event in Durban, South Africa, to lay the foundation for a new international development bank.
The economies of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa account for more than 25% of the world's gross domestic product, but lag far behind developed nations in terms of infrastructure. Africa as a whole is even farther behind, and this is what is prompting the leaders to call for the new bank. Joining us on the phone now with the latest news from the BRICS Summit in Durban is VOA's Anita Powell. Hello, Anita.
Hi, guys.
Yes, now this is one of the big declarations, setting up of a bank, but from what I was hearing is that people expected a little more than this. What was that?
Right. I think we were expecting details, numbers, hard facts and figures, deadlines. Instead, President Zuma of South Africa gave us adjectives. He said that they were sure that the bank was sustainable, that it was viable, and that they were going to put in a sufficient amount of money, which means many things depending on how you interpret it.
Some were saying perhaps a seed capital of about $50 billion US. Any details on who is putting in how much?
Right. I spoke to the finance minister of South Africa, and he said that $50 billion was not, the agreed upon, set in stone figure. The idea was that each of the 5 nations was going to put in $10 billion. But India, he said, came up with a different proposal, and another country said it might be more, might be less. And in the end, it sounds like they just didn't have an agreement.
Now, we know that while this group, the BRICS, is trying to promote this partnership as a group, there is still ongoing bilateral relationships being built and developed amongst the same group. What do you say?
Exactly. That's actually where the big money was in these last 2 days. China and South Africa inked a sheaf of deals, including a multi-billion-dollar deal for China to build ships at the port of Durban here in southern South Africa. South Africa and Russia, also signed 9 deals, including on energy, agriculture, mining, and so on and so forth.
Very many other Africans watching now from across the continent may say, what's our stake in this? Say some viewer in Tanzania or Kenya.
Right, well, that's hard to say. The BRICS leaders just this afternoon had a private BRICS African Summit in which they met with a number of African leaders. We know, for example, that President Denis Sassou Nguesso from Congo was there, that we heard that President Obiang of Equatorial Guinea was there. And in this summit, the leaders presented their thoughts, their ideas, their requests, but no commitments have been announced at this time.
Very quickly, people expected the BRICS to talk about a little bit their dealings with the Syrian situation. Anything came out of that meeting?
Right. They saved that for the very end in a written declaration in which they said they condemn the violence, they urge humanitarian access, and they firmly believe that the solution is going to be a Syrian political solution. So none of that is surprising or out of line with anything they've said before, really.
Very quickly, any surprises that you anticipate in the remainder of this conference, this summit?
It depends what the Russians have brought to drink, but we can safely say no.
All right. Anita, we'll be checking on you once again. Thanks a lot for the update. Anita Powell reporting on the BRICS Summit from Durban, South Africa.